Good morning, students. Welcome to Measure Integration live lectures. In this lecture, we'll discuss some properties of Lebesgue integral of a bounded measurable function, and also we'll see bounded convergence theorem. Okay. So if we quickly recall, if suppose f is a bounded measurable function and e which is of finite measure, then how integration of f over e is defined? How integration of f is defined is you find all simple functions, okay, where psi greater than or equal to f, and
Yes,
you find infimum of all such values. Is this clear? Yes or no? Hmm? And this is also
yes,
equal to
Yes, sir.
supremum of integration of phi of x dx
yes,
where phi less than or equal to f, right? Where psi and pi, they are all simple functions. Whether we write now onwards or not, it is understood that they are simple functions. Okay, right? Now we'll see some properties. So you can call it as theorem or lemma, whatever proposition. Okay, let f and g be bounded, okay, measurable functions defined on e with finite measure. That means m of e is finite. Okay, then say suppose a and b are real numbers, okay, and a and b are real, then uh, this af plus bg you take, obviously they are also bounded and measurable. So if you take integration of this is same as a times integration of f over e plus b times integration of g over e. This property is called what? Linear property, right? Yes or no? Hmm? So this Lebesgue integral has this linear property. Then the second one, suppose if f is equal to g almost everywhere, okay, then also integration of f is same as integration of g. Okay, and third one, if but it is called monotone, that means if f is less than or equal to g, even almost everywhere is sufficient. Okay, see f is equal to g and f is equal to g almost everywhere, which is more stronger? Hmm? If f is equal to g, it is more stronger
mm-hmm.
condition. F is
Almost.
equal to g is
G is
almost
more
everywhere is weaker
stronger.
condition. Any problem? Hmm?
No, sir.
Okay. Then by monotonicity, integration of f over e is less than or equal to integration of g over e. Okay. See this statement, if f is less than or equal to g, then also it is true or not? Hmm? Because if f is less than or equal to g almost everywhere, huh? If this is true, then if you take f is less than or equal to g, for that also this statement is true. Yes or no? Hmm?
Yes.
Yes. Because the measure of what you take is measure of empty set is 0, right? Here, if this condition is
Yes,
true, then obviously this statement is true even for f less than or equal to g, then integration of f is less than or equal to integration of g. So in particular, this if you take modulus of integration of f is less than or equal
Record.
to integration of mod f. Okay, that means absolute value of integration is less than or equal to integration of that absolute value, right? Okay, now if there exist constants a and b, okay, they are not sets, say some constants such that a is less than or equal to f of x is less than or equal to b, okay, then this integration of e over f is less than or equal to a times measure of e is less than or equal to b times measure of e. Okay, these are all very simple, they're not a difficult one. The third one is, okay, see if you have any confusion, here you can remove this. Instead of saying capital A and small b, you can write capital A and B, okay, such that if A is less than or equal to B, then A times measure of E is less than or equal to B times measure of E. Okay. Now the last one is if A and B are two measurable sets, if A and B are disjoint measurable sets, then integration of f over this A union B is integration of f over A plus integration of f over B. Of course, this on a smaller set we are defining, where integration of f over any measurable set E is defined as integration of f times chi of A. Okay. So here we are defining integration of f over A is same as, that means outside we want 0, only we want integration of f with this set A. Okay, so if chi of A, if x is not in A, then what is chi A of x? So you write here x, okay, then you write here x. What is chi A of x if x is not in A? If x is not in A, then this chi A of x is 0. Okay, so you are talking about integration of 0 which is 0 only. Are you following? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So if you want to define integration of f over a smaller set, that you can define as integration of over entire domain E, f times take the characteristic function chi times E. Okay, fine. Now we'll prove the first one, which is linear property. Okay, what is linear property? We will show that A times f, integration of A times f is A into integration of f. Then we will show that integration of f plus g is same as integration of f plus integration of g. Okay. So first we will show that. So claim 1, the first one. First we show integration of A times f over E is same as A into integration of f over E. Okay. See, obviously this is true. It is obviously true if A is 0. If A is a scalar 0, then it is obviously true or not. Okay. So assume A is not equal to 0. Right. Now if A is greater than 0, we will prove this one, and if A is less than 0 also we will prove this. Okay. See how integration of, we have defined here, how integration of any function f is defined is based on all simple functions which are greater than or equal to that function. Is this clear? So if we
Yes,
want to
sir.
talk about integration of A times f, so let psi be a simple function, right? Simple function such that psi is greater than or equal to AF. Is this clear? Yes or no? Because we want to talk
Yes,
about
sir.
integration of A times F. So we will take simple functions bigger than or equal to that function. Right? Yes or no? Therefore,
Yes.
because this one is infimum, this integration is infimum, that means it is greatest lower bound, so it is less than or equal to every integral of that set. So in particular, what you will get, this implies integration of AF over E is infimum of all such psi, right?
Simple.
Where psi is simple and psi greater than or equal to AF. Is this clear?
Yep.
This is by
Yeah. Yes, sir.
definition. Any problem? We are talking about AF, so it should be AF here. Yes or no? Integration of AF. This
Yes.
AF is a bounded measurable function. So this one is defined as infimum of all simple functions greater than or equal to AF. Somehow we should go to integration of F, right? That means how we will simplify this? We will simplify this as infimum of we want simple functions greater than or equal to f, right? Because a is greater than 0, I can write this as psi upon a or 1 by a times psi. Is this clear? Yes or no? Any
Yes,
problem
sir.
here? Now, because this is a simple function, instead of psi, I will write here psi by a. So I can write here a. Is this clear? So the above one is same as this one. We have rewritten in another form. Any problem? Because a is greater than 0,
No,
No,
sir.
sir.
this makes sense. So instead of psi upon a, I'll write that as psi prime. Okay, greater than or equal to f. This is a times psi prime. Is this clear? Yes or no? Now this is over all simple functions, because if some function psi is a simple function, then any scalar times that function is also simple function, because it takes only finitely many values, right? Yes or no? So this infimum is over. If this infimum is over all simple functions, okay, then this infimum is also over all simple functions greater than or equal to f. Okay, is that clear? Right? Now
Yes, sir.
this psi prime is a simple function, and for simple function we have proved that scalar times psi prime, scalar you can take outside. So therefore this is same as infimum of a times integration of psi prime is greater than or equal to f. So this a I can bring outside, yes or no, because it is greater than 0. So it is same as a times infimum of integration of psi prime, where psi prime is greater than or equal to f. But this is same as now what? A into this is nothing but what? Infimum of all simple functions greater than or equal to f. So this is same as integration of f over e. Yes or no? Huh? By definition,
Yes.
this
Yes,
one
sir.
is integration of f over e. So if a is greater than 0, then we have defined this. So now let a is less than 0. Okay. Then same thing you can start applying. So integration of a times f over e is infimum of, okay, all psi greater than or equal to a times f
Yeah.
integration of psi. Is this clear? But now
Yes, sir.
when I bring this a is less than 0. Okay. So if I bring this a this side, what is that inequality will become? It will become less than or equal. Is this clear? Any problem?
Yes.
And similarly here I will write a into psi by e. Okay. So I'll bring a outside. So this is same as infimum of a times integration of psi upon a, right? So that I will write, instead of writing psi upon a, I will simply denote like psi prime. Okay, this psi prime is less than or equal to f. Now remember, your a is less than 0. Okay, so if you bring outside infimum, it will become a times supremum of this value. Is this clear? What is the
Yes, sir.
reason? Since infimum of
A is less than.
a times any set, okay, is equal to a times supremum of a. So find supremum of a, then you multiply that negative value. Is same as infimum of, first you multiply a to that capital set and find infimum. Is this clear? If this is true, if what? A is less than 0. If a is greater than 0, it is same as a times infimum of a. Are you following? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So here what we used here is infimum of a times a set is a into infimum of a, provided if a is greater than 0. And if a is less than 0, it is a times supremum of e. But again, what is this one? Supremum of integration of psi prime less than or equal to f is again integration of f over e. Is this clear? Yes or no? Any problem? Right? So whether a greater than 0 or less than 0, we proved that. Therefore, for any case, integration of a times f over e is a into integration of f over e for all real numbers. Okay. Now we'll show that Next, we show integration of f plus g over e is same as integration of f over e plus integration of g over e. Okay. Then using these two, you will get that integration of af plus bg is a times integration of f plus. Is that clear? Now, how we'll show? We'll show that one is less than or equal to other, then they are equal. Okay. So to show one is integration of f plus g is less than or equal to integration of f plus integration of g, we use one definition here, and for the other one we use this one. Is this clear? So start with, let's psi. So we want to talk about integration of f plus g over e, right? So how we have to start with, let psi be a simple function
Simple.
such that psi is greater than or equal to
F.
f, and phi be a simple function such
Phi
that
is less than.
if
Phi
you
is less than.
if you want, no, you write here psi prime. Suppose psi prime be a greater than or equal to g, this psi prime be a simple function such that psi prime is greater than or equal to g. Okay, then what we will get, because it's this psi is greater than or equal to f. Okay, this implies psi plus psi prime, okay, is a simple function such that psi plus psi prime is greater than or equal to f plus g. Is this clear? So we got a simple function which is greater than or equal to f plus g. Therefore, integration of e over f plus g, which is lower bound, so therefore less than or equal to integration of psi plus psi prime. Is this clear? Yes or no? Because
Yes.
your integration e or f is defined as infimum of such things, so therefore this is in fact less than or equal to integration of every such integral. Okay, right? But now psi and psi prime are simple functions. Yes or no? Psi and psi prime are simple functions, so therefore linear property is true there. That means this is integration of psi over e plus integration of psi prime over e, right? Okay, so therefore what we have proved is that integration of f plus g is less than or equal to integration of integration of psi over e plus integration of psi prime over e for all, what are this psi and psi prime? For all psi prime greater than or equal to
Simple.
f, for all psi greater than or equal to f, and psi prime greater than or equal to g. Is this clear? So in particular, if I take infimum, because it is true for all such functions, so infimum of that is also less than or equal to that. Is that clear? Infimum of psi greater than or equal to f, psi prime greater than or equal to g. Is this step clear? This integration of f plus g over e is also less than or equal to this. So now if you take infimum inside, what is this will become? Infimum of integration of psi over e, okay, where psi greater than or equal to f plus integration of psi prime infimum where psi prime is greater than or equal to g, right? But this is same as what? Infimum of psi greater than or equal to f, so therefore this is integration of f. Similarly, this is integration over g, right?
G.
So one inequality we proved, that integration of f plus g over e is less than or equal to integration of f plus integration of g. Is this clear? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So to prove the another inequality, what you have to start with? Same way. Say suppose phi be a simple function less than or equal to f, and phi prime be a simple function less than or equal to g. Then phi plus phi prime is a simple function. Yes or no? Less than or equal to this. So you will get it is greater than and so on. So similarly, what you will get, right? By using definition of integration of f over e is supremum of integration of phi less than or equal to f, we get, okay, what we will get? Integration of f plus g over e is greater than or equal to integration of f over e plus integration of g over e. Okay, so I'll ask you to prove everyone just like similar lines of this one. Any problem here? Instead of taking
No, sir.
infimum, what we have to take here? Instead of taking infimum,
Supremum.
you have to take supremum. Is
Supremum.
that clear? Okay, so write everyone
Yes. Yes.
clearly here in your notes. It should be completely written, right? Yes or no?
Yes,
So
sir.
Yes,
therefore,
sir.
therefore what we have proved is that integration of f plus g over e is same as integration of f over e plus integration of g over e, right? Hence, by combining 1 and 2, integration of e times af plus bg is equal to, by this one, what you will get here is integration of e times af plus integration of
Integration e
bg,
times g.
right? Then by using the first one, integration of this, you will get this. Is this clear? Right? So that proves the first one. Now, remaining all are not at all difficult. What is second one? Is given that if f is equal to g, okay, almost everywhere, then we want to show that integrations are equal. Okay, so if f is equal to g, if f is equal to g almost everywhere, then f minus g is equal to 0 almost everywhere. Yes or no? If they are equal, then their difference is equal to 0 almost everywhere, right? Again, what we will do? Let psi be a simple function. Let psi be a simple function such that psi is greater than or equal to f minus g, right? But we know f minus g is equal to 0 almost everywhere. This implies psi is greater than or equal to 0 almost everywhere. Is this clear? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Now you apply, see, we already know Lebesgue integration for simple functions and their properties also. This implies by monotonicity, what we know? Integration of psi, right, over e, okay, is greater than or equal to 0. Yes or no? In last previous two classes,
Yes. Yes.
we have proved that if f and g are simple functions and f greater than or equal to g almost everywhere, then integration of f is greater than or equal to integration of g. Is this clear? Any problem?
No, sir.
So this is true for all psi greater than or equal to f minus g. This implies, in particular, if you take infimum of this integration where psi greater than or equal to f minus g, this is also greater than or equal to 0. But by definition, what is this one? Infimum of integration of psi greater than or equal to f minus g is integration of f minus g is greater than or equal to 0. Is this clear? But now by linear property, what is this one? This is same as integration of f.
F
This
minus
is greater than or
integration
equal
of
to
g greater than equal to 0.
0, right? That shows that this integration of f over e is greater than or equal to integration of g over e. Is this clear? Right? Any problem?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
No.
So now, how you will get the another inequality? Huh? You write, let phi be a simple function such that phi is less than or equal to f minus g, right?
F minus g.
Similarly, by using another definition, we get integration of f, okay, or this f and g can be interchanged, like that also we can argue. Is that clear? You will get this, okay. Therefore, integration of f over e is same as integration of g over e. Any doubt? Any problem? So if f equal to g almost everywhere, then the integration of f is same as integration of g, okay. Fine. Now third one, we will take third one is actually follows from this second only. What is third one? if f is less than or equal to g almost everywhere, then also we want to show that it follows that monotonicity. Okay, so if f is less than or equal to g almost everywhere, then you can write this g minus f is greater than or equal to 0 almost everywhere. Yes or no? Huh? G minus f is greater than or equal to 0 almost everywhere or not? Huh?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
So then
Yes, sir.
by using this one, this property, where is that? Here. You see what we got? F minus this psi greater than or equal to 0 almost everywhere, right? That means let, this is same repetition, let psi be a simple function such that psi is greater than or equal to g minus f. This implies psi is greater than or equal to 0 almost everywhere because g minus f is greater than or equal to 0, right? Then by 2, by second case, what you will get is integration of this g minus f over e will get is greater than or equal to 0, right? Yes or no? This is same as integration of g minus integration of f is greater than or equal to 0. So that is same as saying that integration of g over f. Okay, just like only half of the part we are doing this second one for third, right? Now modulus of how we will prove this, modulus of integration of f, this one is less than or equal to this, follows from linearity and monotonicity. Okay, how we do that? Also, if you see f is less than or equal to mod f or not? F is always less than or equal to mod f and greater than or equal to minus of mod f, right? Any problem about this inequality? If you take a function f, then it is always between minus mod f and mod f. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Therefore, if you take, because they are less than or equal to, integration if you take, you will get this integration of f by monotone property, what we have proved just now. Is that clear? Yes or no? But this is same as saying that because this one is bounded by minus of and plus of something, so therefore modulus of integration of f over e is less than or equal to integration of mod f, right? Any doubt? That means what we are using here, if you say something like if x is between minus L and L, is same as saying that mod x is less than L. Is this clear? So this is just like you call it like L, right? Any problem? That proves
No, sir.
the third one. Now fourth one is similar, it is not at all difficult. Now as a is less than or equal to f of x is less than or equal to b, implies if you take integration a, this is less than or equal to integration of this. Okay, yes or no? But this is same as a times 1 is their identity function, so a will come outside, then it is same as 1 is less than or equal to integration of f, this is less than or equal, b will come outside, what is there is 1. Okay, yes or no?
1.
But 1 is just like a, it is taking value only 1, right? So therefore it is in particular a simple function taking only value 1. So therefore what is integration of that? Measure of that set? Yes or no? See, if you have something like
Yes,
phi,
sir.
if phi is equal to summation ai chi of ai, okay, then this characteristic function, right? Then what is measure of that one? Integration of that is summation ai measure of ai. Okay, yes or no? But 1 we know is same as chi of the entire domain. Is this clear? So therefore this integration of this 1 over e is integration of chi of e, which is same as measure of e. Any problem? So integration of the 1 is nothing but measure of e. is less than or equal to integration of f over e, which is less than or equal to b times. Similarly here again you will get measure of. Clear? Now the last one,
Yes, sir.
what we have given that A intersection B there is disjoint, that means empty set. Okay, therefore, and we want to find integration of f over A union B, which is same as, by definition this is same as integration of f times chi of A union B over E. Okay, but because they are disjoint sets, then f of chi of A union B is same as chi of A plus chi of B. Okay, so therefore this is same as f times chi of A plus f times chi of B characteristic function. Then by using linear property, it is same as f times chi of A plus f times chi of B. Then again going back, this is same as integration of f over A, and this is integration of f over B. Right? Any problem? Huh? Any problem?
No, sir.
So therefore we proved that integration of f over disjoint union is integration of sum of those integrations over individual sets. Right? Okay. So these are some of the properties of Lebesgue integral of a bounded measurable function. Okay. Now using these properties and all, what we'll prove is interesting result is called bounded convergence theorem. Okay, bounded convergence theorem, which says that under some conditions your, so the idea is like this. The idea is, suppose if fn's converges to f, whether integration of fn converges to integration of f or not. Okay, just a second. The idea is, if fn's converges to f pointwise, okay, whether integration of these fn's, Lebesgue integration, converges to Lebesgue integration of f or not. In general it is not true, but if those fn's are bounded, okay, then this is true. That means it is true if these fn's are bounded. You can call it uniformly bounded. Okay, so that is called bounded convergence theorem. So let me write this statement, then we will discuss. So let fn be a sequence of bounded measurable sequence of measurable functions. Okay, of course defined on E, where m of E is finite. Okay, and suppose there exist, call it real m, such that this mod fn of x is less than or equal to m for all n and for all x. Okay, that means what we said is this is called uniformly bounded. Each fn's are uniformly bounded. Then if f of x is equal to limit of fn of x, okay, that is same as saying that what, your fn of x converges to f of x. Okay, this is true for every x belongs to E. Then integral of f over E is same as limit of integral of fn over E as n tending to infinity. Okay, so this is again same as saying that what, this is same as saying that this integration of fn's over E converges to integration of f over E. Is this clear? Is statement clear? What is bounded convergence theorem says? That if we have a sequence of measurable functions, okay, which are uniformly bounded, that means there is some m such that fn mod fn of x is less than or equal to m for every n and for every x. Okay, then whenever fn converges to f some point wise, then integration of fn converges to integration of f. Right? You can also, the several times we have also seen that this integration of E, what is F? F is nothing but limit of Fn's. Is this clear? Is same as limit of integration of Fn. So this statement is actually same as saying that this integration and limit can be interchanged, or limit you can take inside integration. Is this clear? Huh? So this is possible if your Fn's are bounded, uniformly bounded. We can give counter example where if this condition is not true, then this result is not true. Is statement clear? Hmm? Is statement clear or not? That
Yes, sir.
if Fn's are measurable functions bounded by some number, then if Fn's limit of Fn's equal to f of x, then integration of f is nothing but limit of integration of Fn. That is same as saying that if Fn's converges to f, then integration of Fn converges to integration of f, right? So when you talk about integration of f over e, we want to make sure that f is bounded and measurable, okay? Because if f is bounded and measurable, then integration of f is defined, right? For that, you can see that since this f of x is equal to limit of fn of x, so once limit exists, then lower limit, upper limit all are equal, yes or no? So this is same as lim inf of fn of x. Is this clear? Huh?
Yes, sir.
Now as each fn is measurable because they are given to be sequence of measurable functions, we get that we proved lim sup lim inf of measurable functions is measurable, right? So we get that this f is measurable, yes or no? Now we'll show that f is bounded, okay? Also mod fn of x is less than or equal to m for every n and for every x, right? This implies even if you take limit n tending to infinity, this mod fn of x is less than or equal to m, right? That is same as saying that modulus of limit n tending to infinity mod fn of x, okay? Here mod you won't get, this is less than or equal to m, but that is same as saying that limit of fn of x is f of x, okay? This is less than or equal to m. That means this implies f is bounded, right? So we shown that f is bounded and measurable, hence f is Lebesgue integrable, Lebesgue integrable, right? Now we will show that this integration of e over fn converges to integration of e over f, okay? So for that, what we'll use is that we will use third principle, that Littlewood's three principle. So let's go back to this Littlewood three principles. Let's recall that. Yeah. So here, read this statement. If you have a measurable set with finite measure and fn be a sequence of measurable functions defined on E, and f is a real valued function such that fn of x converges to f of x. Up to here, we have in that theorem also that fn's are measurable and they are converging to f of x. So under this condition, what we know from this theorem, then for given any epsilon greater than 0 and any delta greater than 0, what we know? There exists a measurable set A with measure of set is less than delta and a natural number n such that for all x outside A and for all n greater than or equal to n, mod fn of x minus f of x is less than epsilon. Is this clear? So that statement we will use now. That statement we will use. So here these fn's are measurable functions and fn converges to f of x. So therefore, by Littlewood, 3 principles. What we have is, we have, so let me write, for given epsilon greater than 0 and delta greater than 0, there exists a measurable set A, okay, with measure of A is less than delta, and there exists a natural number n such that what we'll have, for all x not in A and for all n greater than or equal to n, we have mod fn of x minus f of x is less than epsilon. Is this clear? That statement we have rewritten again. Now we will take some suitable epsilon and suitable delta and we will apply for this. Okay? Any problem? Is this statement clear? So we will use this statement to
Yes.
prove, right? So here mod fn of x minus f of x is less than epsilon, where epsilon is any positive value. So this epsilon can be replaced by any positive value, and similarly delta can also be replaced by any positive value, right? Okay. Fine. Also, mod fn of x minus f of x, okay, is less than or equal to, by triangle inequality, this is mod fn of x plus mod f of x, but what is given, mod fn of x is less than or equal to m, also mod f of x is less than or equal to m, so therefore this is less than or equal to 2 times m.
Hello, sir.
Yes,
इथे प्लस येतं का मायनस?
where, huh?
इथे mod fn of x minus f of x less than equal to mod fn of x minus का plus?
No, plus, right? Triangle inequality, either it is minus or plus, it is always less than or equal to plus. Okay, right? So this mod fn of x minus f of x is less than or equal to 2m. So in particular, even if this is true for every x belongs to E. So in particular, this is true for any subset of this E also. Okay. So now what we will find is then the integration of modulus of integration of E over Fn minus integration of E over F. This value we want to show it is less than epsilon. Okay, this is equal to modulus of integration of Fn minus F. Okay, by property what we have proved, this is less than or equal to what? Integration of E over mod Fn minus F. Is this clear? But now because there exists a set A, this E we will write as A union A complement. Disjoint union, by applying that property, this is nothing but integration of A mod Fn minus F plus integration of mod Fn minus F over A complement. Okay. Now this is true for all x belongs to A complement. Okay. So this we can make it less than epsilon. Whatever we are having here, this we can make it less than epsilon. So this is less than, okay. And what is this mod Fn minus F? Because it is less than or equal to 2m, so we can bring it 2m outside into integration of A over this 1, okay, plus we'll write this as epsilon. Is this clear? Any problem? Now what we want to make sure that the right hand side whatever we are getting here, it should be something like epsilon. So these values we will change here for epsilon into measure of this delta and epsilon, what we will take as, so we will take, I'll write here why we will take epsilon as this epsilon, we'll consider epsilon as epsilon by 2 times measure of E, we know which is greater than 0, and delta as this epsilon by 4 times m. Okay, I'll tell you why we want to take like this. Okay, then what we have here is integration of mod fn minus f. Okay, mod fn minus f is less than epsilon. That means this epsilon is nothing but what? We are taking epsilon as epsilon by 2 times measure of E. Okay, so therefore this is epsilon by 2 times measure of E will come outside integration of A complement times 1. Okay, then this is same as 2 times measure of A plus epsilon by 2 times measure of E into measure of A complement. Okay, but we know that measure of A complement is subset of E. Okay, so therefore this is still less than or equal to 2 times m into measure of A. See, measure of A is less than delta, right? Here if you see this, measure of A is less than delta means measure of A is less than, we are taking delta as epsilon by 4m, right? So if you substitute that, this is epsilon by 4m. What we are doing is we are making that epsilon and delta in such a way that the right hand side, when you sum it, you get epsilon. That is the only thing, nothing else. Okay, epsilon by 2 times measure of E. This measure of A complement is always less than or equal to measure of E. Okay, since what is the reason? Since measure of A or measure of A complement is less than or equal to measure of E, because A complement is a subset of E. Okay, so if you simplify this, what you get? M measure of E will get cancel, epsilon by 2 plus epsilon by 2, which is nothing but epsilon. That's all. Otherwise you can put it here epsilon also, no problem. Epsilon into some scalar you will get. That's all. Epsilon into some 2m plus some value and so on. So we have to get right hand side epsilon. We have selected our suitable epsilon as, instead of taking epsilon, you take epsilon by 2 times measure of E. And instead of taking any delta, you take epsilon by 4m. Okay. For that, this result is true. Therefore, what we have proved is that mod less of integration of fn over E minus integration of f over E is less than epsilon, right? Where epsilon is any greater than 0. That shows that this implies this integration of fn over E converges to integration of f over E, right? Remember, this mod fn minus f here, whatever we are having, is less than epsilon by, this less than epsilon by 2 times m of E only if for all n greater than or equal to n. So what you have here is only true for all n greater than or equal to n, and that is the definition of convergence. That shows that this implies this integration of, this is same as saying that integration of f over E is limit of integration of fn over E, right? That proves this bounded convergence theorem. Is this clear? Any doubt?
No sir.
Okay.
अब हमारा लेक्चर है टोपोलॉजी का.
Okay, so we'll stop here, and in next class we'll see some other properties. Okay.